In the industry, we were all calling it branding and personal branding.
What's up, everybody? Today I have a very special guest. Her name is Tina, and she is a very famous photographer who takes the photography business in a whole new level by being a very good storyteller, artist, and a writer, right? And it seems like she's also have a coaching program to help other photographers to kind of level up their business. And it's an honor to have you on the show. And I'm so excited to have her come on and share her story and how she got started. So Tina, could you share with us, how you get started in the business and why'd you get started?
Well, I got started in my photography business about 12 years ago when I got laid off from my corporate job. I was a designer in engineering for 18 years and took a layoff at Harley-Davidson in 2001, I believe it was. And then from there, just jumped in and took the opportunity to start a portrait photography business and to dive more into artistry and writing. I love that creative process, and the feeling of just having the freedom to do whatever I wanted at that time felt really good after coming out of corporate for 18 years.
So you were a creative engineer, a design engineer?
Yeah, I was a mechanical designer for 18 years. I designed plastic injection molded components. And so I went from that very linear brain to photography.
Well, hold on. That's a
design.
Huge gap.
It is, but it's not, because it's design it's design in a 3D CAD world. I was designing in 3D softwares.
Yeah, and I thought CAD designers are
real life parts. Yes. And then I went from designing plastic parts to designing photos and websites and graphics and stuff like that. So it was still using my design brain, but just using it in a different, more fluid, flowing, beautiful way. So
did you have a passion for photography and you just kind of take the opportunity to transition, like a little transition over to that?
I did.
Okay.
Yeah. So when I was a kid, actually, I think when I was in middle school, I got a little Canon Snappy film camera, aging myself, but I got that for Christmas one year, and went around and started taking pictures of my family and my house and stuff like that. And then I was in 4-H at that time, and I entered some of my photographs in the competition in my 4-H group, and I won a blue ribbon. And I was so excited about that. And from there, I just fell in love with photography and followed National Geographic. My dream is to be published in National Geographic someday.
That's great. I mean,
yeah,
I think there's always, one of my mentors said, there's always two sides to a story, right? I mean, you unfortunately got laid off, but then the flip side of it is that's the reason why you started following this, kind of reconnecting your passion. I love that.
Yeah.
So
something.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, if you open up yourself to allowing and receiving the gift, something good can come out of something bad, what is perceived as bad.
Yeah, that's great. So when you transition over, how did you kind of like make it into a business? Because you got to make money.
Yeah, I just bought a camera and started charging people.
Okay.
That's how I did that. And then I went to Google.
That is so funny. That is so good. Like, you just did it.
I just did
Most people would say, I need a website, I need a profile, I need a portfolio, I need, right?
Yeah, that came later. Yeah, that came later. I just started taking pictures and started charging. Well, I should say I didn't start taking pictures, continued taking pictures, but in a more professional manner, taking pictures of people rather than, I was taking a lot of pictures of people while I was traveling and such, but this was more professional portrait kind of photos. So I just moved into that. And then I went to Google and figured out how to get a business license and all of that that goes along with the business stuff. And then, yes, I realized I needed a website. And instead of hiring someone, I just dove in and figured out how to do it myself. And then I figured out how to market and just kind of one step at a time, one step at a time.
I love it. You know, you literally gave yourself no excuse. You're like, okay, I don't know how to
No.
do a website. Let me figure it out.
Yeah.
Let me do this. Okay.
Yeah.
So how did you get your first client? Like we always have that first paycheck, right? So what did you do to get the first client, the first paycheck?
Well, my sister-in-law was really a catalyst for me starting my portrait business because I honestly, I didn't want to do that. That was 11, 12 years ago when it was booming with the digital cameras. A lot of people were starting a portrait photography business at that time. It was easy. You take pictures outside in a park and you've got a digital camera and it doesn't really cost that much to get started. So it was a big thing. And I wanted to go, in my mind, I'm thinking I want to go, I want to get published in National Geographic. That's what I want to do. Right. So I didn't want to do the portrait thing, but my sister-in-law kept asking me to take pictures of my nieces. And I was saying no for a while. And then finally she called me one day. She says, come on, I got these really cute tutus and these really cute little outfits. Will you please take pictures of them? We can go down to the art museum in Milwaukee. So I said, yes. And I just fell in love with it from there. And so even though she didn't pay me, I consider her kind of my first client. And I put those pictures out on Facebook. And then friends are like, are you taking pictures of people? I want my picture from you. And so it actually, one friend after another started reaching out and then they started referring me. And then I just kept posting pictures on Facebook and it just ramped up from there.
I guess this only work out well if you are good at this, right?
Yeah. And also if you commit to it and you want it, because from
Yeah.
that point on, I was like, okay, if I'm going to do this, I'm going all in and I'm going to do it. And so you've got to commit to it and you have to focus and you have to go and you have to keep learning. I mean, I was working more hours doing that than I was at my full-time job. And I thought, this is crazy. I felt like I thought I was going to have freedom when I left corporate and I'm working more hours than I work there, but I'm having so much fun and it doesn't feel like work. So it kind of is freedom.
I, I love this. You're so like real and honest because most business owner I speak to, it's like, yeah, I quit my 9 to 5, my 40-hour week to a 90-hour week.
Yeah, for sure. That's exactly what happened. And then, but for only for the first couple of years, because there was a learning process that went along with, I was learning, diving deeper into the portrait side of photography, learning about studio lighting and all of that. So I was really diving into that. And I was really diving into how to run a business and I was diving into marketing. So that was really time consuming at first. And then as I grew into that, the entrepreneurship and the photographer, there was less learning and I created systems to make my life easier. And so then I was able to work less year after year. I was working less and less. But the first few years, oh gosh, yeah, at least 80, 90 hours a week.
That's so amazing because you know you're learning, right? Because you gotta learn, you gotta educate yourself on how to do like lighting, portrait,
Yeah.
how to charge, sales, right? Marketing, SEO, website. It's like it's a lot of things, but you're one person. So that's why it's taking 90 hours a week.
Yeah.
I feel like most let's just say most photographers, because I do have a lot of photographer clients, they just kind of quit. They're like, this is too hard. You know, this is too much. And most of them quit within the first 2 years of starting out the business and they haven't matured from it, right? So what was the motivation that kept you going? Because you had quite a strong like fire. Like, this is what I need to do. I will sacrifice and I'm gonna do this thing. I can figure it out. So what was your motivation?
Part of it is it's just in me I'm curious. So I want to see if I can do it. Number one, I'm curious enough and motivated enough to learn what I need to learn. And also I understand that, I put myself through college. I worked hard to put myself through college. I understand that it takes a lot of hours in the beginning to move through that beginning stage to get to the good part. So I understand that. And also, I did not want to go back to my desk job because I really liked working from home and being able to open my window on a nice day. I loved being able to go for a walk in the middle of the day if I wanted to. I loved being able to take a Wednesday off. With photography, I was working a lot of weekends. So I loved having a weekday off. So I could see the potential of my future. The way that I wanted to live my life was more in alignment with working hard through that beginning part than quitting and going back to corporate.
I guess we could say that the other option is just like it's horrific. You scare you to death. That's why you're like I need to move away from that as fast as I can because I didn't like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly. Yes, exactly. I felt like I had two choices. I can either quit working 80 hours a week for myself and building something for myself and go back to corporate, or I can suck it up for 2 or 3 years and move into the lifestyle that I really want to live.
Yeah. I think the first few years of educating yourself, because as we know in any, like I would say, sport, right? You don't just become good and it's gonna be good. You have to train. Athletes trains daily for years so they can participate in the Olympic for just that for 1 month, right? It could be a 5 years training for just that moment. So I think like most businesses, they gotta take what you're sharing and like, yeah, this is not a game. This is a sport. I gotta train every single day. Must be a learning day. So after you transition to the portrait photography, what has been the best growth, like I would say the best method of growth that you experienced that kind of increased income for you?
First, I just want to acknowledge that was a really good analogy, and I use that a lot about the athlete. It is
Oh, really?
to an athlete, yes, because mentally, physically, emotionally, we have to, as an entrepreneur, you have to set yourself up in all of those areas every single day, and you have to continue to work on yourself every single day. So it is kind of like being an athlete. And what was the second part of your question? What set me up for increasing my income?
Yeah, let me get to that. But I also want to chime into that. Today I was on Facebook this morning when I woke up. I checked my newsfeed and I saw an article about a picture of a CEO crying that he had to let go of all his employees because he failed. And I was like, what a fool. Are you serious? Like, you should post about your employee, not you crying on social media. Like, it's your fault. You let people down. You were not practicing. You didn't train hard enough. Right? That's why you fail. And that's why everybody got fired. That's why they couldn't pay their bills on time. Right? Don't sit there and cry or like do something about it. So I just so upset when I saw that. I was like, no wonder you fail. And in my mind, I was like, because I have 45 employees on my payroll, and when it's there are times we come close and it's driving me crazy. I was like, oh God, what can I do? Like, I gotta do something. I need to make money to payroll and pay rent, right? But like, I'm not just gonna sit there and cry, be like, oh man, that sucks, right? So it's such a unique. I would say being a business owner is so unique and so stressful that we're taking so much responsibility on ourselves, like to be responsible for 45 employees' rent. And that's what motivated me, because I would never ever think about letting them go. I would do everything it takes. So that's why I use the athlete analogy. Like, yeah, you gotta train hard, buddy. It's hard out there. You gotta be different. You gotta be unique. So you gotta stand out. So everything we do, how to market yourself. So that leads into the question, like, how did you stand out? How did you market yourself so they can build a business to pay bills and things?
Yeah, I found a niche that when I first started my photography business, I dabbled in a little bit of everything because I started fast. I just jumped in and I didn't really know what I really wanted to do. And there are a lot of options in photography. You can do sports, you can do weddings, there's so many different options. And so I tried a little bit of everything. And, after 2 years, I narrowed it down. I came to the knowing that I love a one-to-one interaction. And so I mainly kept doing high school seniors and personal branding. I love working with entrepreneurs and working through the whole creative process, the whole creative directive process of building the brand, selecting the clothes, the look. How do you want to show up in your pictures? How do you want to show up in your business? You've got to show the person behind the business. How do you want to present yourself? How do you want people to perceive you? What do you want people to say about you when you're not in the room? And that's how you're going to show up in these pictures. And then we worked through I just love working through that whole process. And so that's how I built my business, is just finding that niche. And then I was kind of known as the headshot photographer because I was calling it personal branding. In the industry, we were all calling it branding and personal branding, but it wasn't a big thing yet. So I was saying headshot photographer for the lay people. So I was known in Milwaukee as the headshot photographer.
So how did you like do your outreach to get clients? Now you got your niche, and like, what's next? Like, now, how do I get some booking?
So once I branded myself as the headshot photographer. People who came into me really enjoyed the whole process, and then they would refer their friends, families, coworkers. They would refer them to me. And the other thing I did is I started reaching out to companies in Milwaukee and working with them. I'd bring all my studio gear with me, a backdrop and lights and everything, and go in, and we just have a headshot day at the company. And so that was I really enjoyed that because I got to talk to, gosh, maybe 50 to 80 to 100 people in 1 or 2 days. And that I really enjoyed that. That was fun. It was kind of like a school picture kind of process. We moved faster than we did in my regular custom branding photo shoots. But I still really enjoyed talking to everybody and helping them through the process of sitting or standing in front of the camera. People feel so awkward. It is intimidating to stand in front of a big camera with somebody you've never met before. And so I just, try to make the process as smooth as possible, try to make them feel as comfortable as possible, to bring out their personality in those split seconds that I have with them.
That's amazing. So you pretty much cold outreach. You just call the company, hey, this is me. It is what I do.
Yeah.
Portfolio. Would you be interested to have me come and take photo of your employees' headshots?
Yes. Yeah. I would usually send an email. That's less,
right.
Invasive, intrusive. So yeah, I would usually send an email.
That's great.
Yeah.
And I don't know why, but everybody say, because I use cold email too, but that's how I reach out to you.
Yeah.
But,
it works.
but people, like, they give it a reason to not do everything. I have to call them. I don't know. I can't do it. Cold calling doesn't work. Cold email doesn't work. It's always
it all works.
They all work. Just gotta do
it. All works. Yeah, exactly. And I think what it can feel a little bit intimidating, when you're sending out 10 emails and you don't get any response. You're like, oh, maybe this doesn't work. But then just keep doing it and keep doing it. And if you're just a nice person and you word it nicely and you explain, like, this is what I do and this is what you'll get out of it. This is what I can do for you. Talk less about yourself, talk more about what they're, what's going to happen on the other side of it. People are really responsive to that.
That's so good. Like I feel like, you know, the other, I would say, business owners who are listening, like, can really learn, like, to stop making excuses and
Mm,
just do it, and then you can refine the process as time comes. But the repetition, right?
yes.
It
Like
has to
the
be.
athlete.
Yes, yes, like the athlete.
Yeah.
They I spoke to a competitive gymnastic gym in Texas, the biggest one, and I think they're like the largest one. And and she said that her young girls start out as 4 or 5 years old,
Mm.
and they meet at the gym at 7 a.m. for 7 days a week until they're 18,
Wow.
every single day. And at 7:01, the door is locked.
Ooh.
You missed it. Come tomorrow. But I was like, what? These are young girls. She's like, yes, discipline takes is the foundation of a successful athlete.
Discipline
Now,
and focus.
yeah, yeah.
Determination.
Like,
Yeah.
that's insane. Like,
That is insane.
it
And
gave
you
me
know what?
goosebumps. I was like, wow, entrepreneur. I'm not that crazy, but like, dang,
I'm
that's
not
really
either.
hard.
Yeah, that I'm not.
Athlete.
Yeah, same goosebumps. And also, man, I would love to see how some of those young kids, I would love to see them as adults and see
Oh,
what they did
very
with that
successful.
discipline.
I'm getting goosebumps right now talking
Yeah.
about it, because they tell me that they're not just training successful athletes, they're building them into successful adults.
Mm,
And these adults are very responsible, they're very punctual, they're very educated, they're
mm.
very responsible, they're just the mindset that carry with them for the lifetime, you
Yeah,
know.
that's
So
beautiful.
it's so beautiful. It's like, yeah, no wonder you're so successful. And you know, and I interviewed them. It's like amazing, right?
Yeah.
That's why I love doing this, because I get to talk to, you know, such a unique individual,
Yeah.
and sharing the message. Like, yeah, this stuff is hard. Yes, it's not easy, but you got to put in the work. You got to train yourself, and you got to be the best at it. You know, it's not, you don't get a trophy for showing up. Like that doesn't pay the bills. You know?
You are correct. You are correct. And it is not easy. And there are some days where I just want to cry.
Oh,
And
that happens to me
sometimes
all
I
the time.
do. But it's also so rewarding.
Oh yeah.
On the flip side, it's so rewarding for yourself, but also for other people, the interaction that you have with other people and the way that you can serve other people. And then, you know, for me, when I'm done with a portrait session, um, just seeing they'll come in maybe a little intimidated and a little closed off, or, you know, their shoulders a little, you know, just a
Don't
little
relax.
tense, and they leave like they feel like a new person, especially women who, I have a makeup artist that I work with. And so especially the women who come in and have their hair and makeup done and who have gone out and maybe bought a new outfit for the portrait session, man, they leave and they're just glowing. It's
Wow.
amazing. And so all of the hard work, when I see that, all of the hard work makes it worth it. Cause it's not for me. It's not for you, right? It's for in service.
That's great. So are there any other, I would say, marketing strategies that you use besides, you know, emailing and being consistent with them, emailing, you know, company? Is that your primary focus, and you only did that for a long period of time?
Referrals. I got a lot of referrals. Um, I wasn't actually very active on social media, to be honest. I know a lot of people used that and I didn't. I was very successful with referrals and cold emails. That felt better to me. I'm more of an introvert. And so that felt more comfortable to me. Again, it goes back to that one-to-one interaction. I did post on social media, on mostly on Facebook, Instagram a little bit here and there too. And I did get, you know, I put myself out there showing the photos of clients that I've taken, and I did get bookings that way, but mostly it was through referrals because people had such a unique and transformative experience that they talked about it with their circle, with their community. And so I usually got a lot of business that way.
That's great. I think the 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 focus in like delivering an amazing experience for your client and get a referral, right? Because the referral in marketing has the highest ROI.
Mm,
And then secondly is the resell. You sell some, if they buy something once, chances are that you can resell them something else, another thing they
yeah.
can. So repeat business is also.
Repeat. Yep.
So what do you think about people who are I would say struggling with building their local reputation? Because in Milwaukee, you built a reputation
Mm,
for your niche, right? You're
yeah.
you're a corporate portrait photographer, and like how do you like build that reputation at the early like stage when you first started?
I went to a lot of networking events
Oh,
and I just showed up in person in real life.
hold on. This is, oh my God. Like, that's all. Yeah, you just showed up in local networking event and say, hey, I'm Tina and I do
Yes.
shots.
Yes. And
How
I
can I?
got to meet people in person. And that to me felt like it was more effective than posting online. There's people are inundated with photos and messaging and oh my gosh, I can't even, we see thousands of images a day, right? And, but when you meet somebody in person and you're in their energy and there's an actual eye contact exchange, that makes all the difference in the world. And so probably the first 5 years, 4 or 5 years of my business, I went to a lot of networking events.
That's amazing. Yeah, I totally agree on this. Like going to an event, just get a handshake, have a
Yes.
smile, introduce yourself.
Yes, and just have that
Yeah,
conversation with the
connection.
person and really and listen to them and show them that you care and they will remember you.
Wow. So at what point you have enough clientele that you can feel like, wow, okay, this is going well, and now we can just rinse and repeat. Like, when did that happen?
I would say it probably took 3, 4 years.
Really?
Um,
3, 4 years? Wow.
yeah, because maybe that's longer for me than some other photographers. Because I started doing everything and then narrowed it down. Once I got it narrowed down, then it went a lot faster. Once I found that finding a niche is really important. And I kind of struggled through that part of my business the first few years because I liked doing family portraits and I liked doing high school seniors and I liked doing a little bit of this um and I kind of I was hearing a lot of people say find your niche, find your niche, and I was kind of fighting back with that because I had this thought like but I like doing all this stuff, I like working with these people, and so I was fighting my own internal battle on that. And then once I finally let go of that and surrendered to that and just fell into that niche, then it went a lot faster.
Okay. Yeah, I was looking at your website. I was like, wow, the corporate headshot, it looked unreal. I can see the experience that been practicing over 12 years
Mhm.
comes through in the picture. Because I would hire her. Like,
Well, it's a team effort though. So
yeah.
I can bring my camera, I can bring my studio lights, and I can Photoshop. The camera picks up emotion and it picks up if the person is a little tense and withdrawn, it'll pick that up. So I do my best to create a safe space so to bring that authenticity out in the other person.
All right, that's great, Tina. Well, thank you so much for coming on again. And I wish you have the best success in the upcoming future. And we'll see you guys next time. Okay.
All right.